Hello. Since there's been some interest slowly building over the last few years about learning advanced cape tech in Super Mario World, I decided to make this video covering one of the essential parts of advanced flight control, which is being able to force getting an odd speed value while flying. So, first of all, what do I mean by odd speed, and why should you care about being able to get it? Odd speed refers to having an odd value of Mario's x or horizontal speed, for example, 3 units of speed. SMW people will often use the mathematical term parity when referring to even or odd. For example, even parity just means the set of even values that Mario's speed could be. Now, odd speed lets you go to 1 speed, which is the slowest forward movement speed that Mario can have while flying. It's useful for when you need to try and gain height in a very narrow or confined area, and you don't want to have to keep trying to turn around. Also very importantly, if you can get odd speed, you won't have to worry about accidentally hitting 0 speed while adjusting your flight speed. 0 speed is annoying at best because you're unable to do a regular cape pump when Mario isn't moving forward. So getting 0 speed and an awkward time can often lead to panic or death. Now, to understand how to get odd speed reliably, it's useful to know a little bit of detail of how Mario's speed works while he's flying. When Mario is flying normally, his speed can range from any value between -15 and +51 speed units. Holding forward will cause his speed to increase by 4 units per frame, while holding backwards and tapping B causes Mario's speed to decrease by 6 units per B tap. What this means is that by any combination of tapping to accelerate or decelerate Mario, your speed parity will stay the same. If you start with an even speed, you can't simply change it to an odd speed in this way. Hence, if you have even speed, you can't go to the lowest forward speed, which is 1 speed, and you also have to worry about hitting 0 speed. Now, thankfully, due to the way Super Mario World is programmed, there are exceptions to this, and these have to do with what happens when you reach certain speed values near the edges of the range. So, to overcome this parity problem, I will introduce what I refer to as the 3-tap method. To start with, you should know what speed parity you have. Now, this is easier said than done, as being able to tell your speed comes mainly from experience and watching how the screen and background scroll while at low speed. And additionally, you should pay attention to things that affect your speed parity, such as if you brush into a wall and give yourself 0 speed, which is even parity. Very obviously, of course, is if you hit 0 speed while trying to slow down. Now, you want to get to a low speed value, and for example, I'm showing how this works here from 2 speed. Then to swap your speed, what you will do, and ideally after a cape pump so that you keep your height, is you tap B exactly 3 times while holding backwards. Now, to explain what happens during this process, I have a chart here to show Mario's x speed. So, this red dot on the right shows his starting speed of 2 units. If we tap B while holding backwards, Mario's speed decreases by 6 units to -4 speed. If we tap again, it goes to -10 speed. However, when we tap the 3rd time, something strange happens. Actually, when you're below -8 speed and try to B-tap to slow down, the game instead adds 1 to your speed, and this is presumably to keep Mario's speed from going outside the programmed range of values. So you actually end up at -9 speed instead of -16 speed. And this behavior continues if you keep tapping B. When you're below -8 speed, the game keeps adding 1 to your speed, until you reach -7 speed, at which point it subtracts 6 again, and the cycle repeats, so on and so forth. And you can see this in the video clip here, where I am just holding backwards and tapping B. You can see that Mario's speed suddenly jumps around when he gets back to -7 speed. But this is it, this is the key. Because now, once you have odd speed, it will stay odd unless you do something to make the parity change, such as slowing down and tapping B when below -8 speed, or brushing into a block and setting Mario's speed to 0. So, if you're careful, you can keep odd speed for a long time once you manipulate to get it. And I should also say that I'm calling this the 3-tap method, which works for speeds of 0, 2, or 4 units, but it really is more general than that because, in principle, you can flip your parity starting from any speed. You just have to know how many taps you need to pass -8 speed, and be able to quickly do them. So in my experience, 3 beat taps is pretty easy to do quickly. 4 taps is okay, but more than that, while trying to not lose a lot of height, gets pretty tough. And it's also a lot easier to know your speed when you're close to 0 speed, which lets you know how many taps you actually need to do. And just a quick note that a similar speed wraparound also happens at the maximum speed cap, where the speed values cycle between 48, 47, 51, 50, and 49 while forward is held. And Super Mario World speedrunners actually use this behavior to achieve 51 speed, which is the fastest normal movement speed. And if you want to learn more about how they use that, I would suggest that you look at the extensive vanilla Super Mario World speedrunning resources out there. So let's see this in action. So here I'm just showing a clip where I'm using Penga's Kaizo Kindergarten to show Mario's movement speed, which is up at the top right, and as well as a nicer input display. You can see here that I'm flying at 2 speed. And now I'm going to hold backwards and tap B slowly 3 times so that you can see the speed values change to -4, -10, and finally -9. And there it is. You've changed from even speed to odd speed just like that. Now, in practice, I would strongly recommend that you try to couple this maneuver with what we often call a backwards cape pump or a double cape pump so that you don't lose height. Or in other words, you're using backwards cape flight while trying to flip parity. This is a rather advanced maneuver, so don't worry if you can't do it consistently right away. And I should also mention that TJB has a great video about how to do double cape pumps, but specifically for turnaround recovery, which I'll link in the description. So if you want to learn more about that, you should watch his video because without a doubt that is the most important technique for advanced cape movement. And on that note, just remember that after forcing odd speed, if you later find that you have to adjust your speed by going into the negative, for example while doing backwards flight, you have to just be careful that you don't change your parity again, because doing 3 taps from 1 or 3 speed will cause it to flip back to even. So ideally you would want to just do 2 beat taps while trying to do backwards fly. I have one last quick tip. Whenever you enter a level in midair with flight timer, for example, after doing a pipe fly or a door fly, or when you're spawning in several of Pogio's cape levels, if you're holding right on the D-pad on the first frame that Mario can move, it actually will give him odd cape speed in most cases. It has something to do with how the game rounds Mario's speed as he exits the pipe while holding right versus left. You should probably bug TJB or another SMW tasser if you want a more in-depth explanation about this, but still, it's a very quick way to get odd speed in many levels without much messing around, so it's good to know about as well. So, in summary, with a little bit of practice and a lot of experience, it is pretty easy to force getting an odd cape speed. You just need to identify when you have even speed and apply the correct number of B-taps to slow down and flip the parity. For best results, you should try to pair this with a double cape pump or backwards cape pump so that you don't lose too much height. Hopefully, this will help you master advanced cape movement in Super Mario World. The information sources I used are linked in the description of the video. I encourage you to please check them out if you like reading about cape or you want to know more in-depth technical information. And with that, good luck with flying, keep cape, and thank you for watching.